Hello and welcome to the Wendell Effect for the Indian markets. My name is Brandon Wendell. I'll be your guide through some of the Indian markets such as the Nifty and the Bank Nifty. So jumping into it, just reminding you we are not broker dealers or investment advisors. We're taking a look at this information from an educational standpoint only, not telling you to buy, sell, or hold any particular security, giving personalized recommendations. And we are not subject to trading restrictions, so we can have a position in security initiate one at any time. Stay in touch with me, please. If you like what you hear, make sure you hit like and subscribe. I really appreciate that. But also, stay in touch with me, brandonwendell.cmt@gmail.com. Or you can hit me up on Twitter at TraderBDub on Twitter. And again, you can also catch us here on YouTube to make comments. So for the week of October 23rd, taking a look at the Nifty, this is what happened last week. It was pretty flat for the most part. We had a little bit of more green on a few things. Hindustan Unilever, ITC, Nestle, ICICI Bank. But overall, taking a look at the Nifty, we had a solid green candle for the week, but couldn't really break out of the sideways movement that we've been in. We really need to keep an eye out. If we can't get above, or if we do try to make a new high, we need to make sure that our RSI goes above the prior high, which is 61.93. And basically, so we're kind of stuck sideways unless we can get enough momentum to break out to some new highs. Otherwise, expect us to just go a bit sideways this week. Looking at the daily chart, you saw we had a nice impulse up, impulse. We duplicated the previous impulse. So does that mean we're going to stall? Well, again, we don't have enough momentum here to really carry through. We need to be above 60. Otherwise, this daily candle we have, we break the low of that candle, expect this to pull back a bit, maybe 50%. As a matter of fact, let me go out to my live chart here on the Nifty. Oops, put in an extra letter there. And there we are. So if I go to the daily time frame that I was just looking at here, this is what I'm talking about. It's right here. Basically, you're watching this candle, the last daily candle that we had, and if we break the low, expect us to retrace back probably to 50%. The set was 17,313. If we can break out the high, 17,670, then we go to our next impulse up, which is 18,052. So that's kind of what I'm expecting for this week. Could go either way. I want to see if we break the lows, we keep going down. If we break the highs, or we're above 60 on the daily RSI, then we keep going higher. And the 4-hour chart, again, we started doing a little bit of a pullback here. So as you saw, if we continue to pull back, we could go as low as about 17,313, and that before we get a bounce. On Reliance, unfortunately, we stayed below 60 on the RSI. We had a bullish week, but we ran into daily supply and started pushing back down. And we also retraced only about 61.8% of the previous impulse down. This actually looks like it wants to go lower. So I don't know if we're going to make a new low. We're kind of stuck. We would be surprised to kind of see us push back down towards that 2386, 2300 level. On Reliance, historically, for the next month, October 23rd until the 20th of November, honestly, the market only went up 33% of the time for the last 15 years. So nearly 70% of the time, we had a bearish month. So don't expect the market, the Nifty, to rally from Reliance. It doesn't look like it's going to get much support there. Taking a look at Infosys, it's actually the same thing. Infosys also shows for the next month, usually for the last 15 years, it's been somewhat bearish with a negative 4.3% return. So looking at Infosys on the daily chart, you can see we had an impulse down. We retraced a lot of it, but notice we failed to get above 60 here on the RSI. That's a weak signal. And it looks as though, even though we were gapped up and rallied up, it looks like we're getting ready to push down, maybe to close that gap this week. So watch out for that. HDFC also retraced 61.8%. It too is showing weakness as we try to move up. We should be getting a lot more momentum than this. So it looks as though we might continue to push downwards this week in HDFC Bank. This is one of the trades we were looking at earlier. We got in with the entry. I think it touched our entry point a while back in September. This is Bajaj Financial Services, and still just kind of going sideways right now. You see making somewhat lower highs on the indicator with higher highs on price. That's divergence, which usually leads to a pullback. So if you're in this, make sure your stop loss is tight because we're likely to pull back on it. Looking at the Bank Nifty, we had a bit of a retracement. Not sure if this is going to continue. It might just be a little pullback. And again, we need to get back up above 60 to continue to go higher. If not, we could get sideways price action or even a pullback to 35,543. That's the next strong area of weekly demand. On the daily time frame, we already impulsed up to 61.8% of the previous impulse. Looks like we're trying to make it 100%. So we're just barely above 60 right there. So that's suggesting a little bit of bullish activity, but the way we're going is much weaker than we were before for the impulse. So once we get to this 41,000, I would say we're probably going to go a bit sideways and might even lose a little momentum by the end of the week. On the 4-hour chart, it's pretty much the same picture. You can see that we had lots of strength back here, less strength as we try to make the move up this week. So I would not expect too much more, but a little bit of upside out of the Nifty Bank. Just keep it tight on your stops. As far as some new trade ideas, I got a few going on this week on ITC on the 4-hour chart. If we can pull back, I've got an area of demand here, 333.30, 329.60. You can place your stop below. I've got it at 329 even. And I'm going to target some Fibonacci overheads projections because we're reaching up to new highs we haven't had before. So 350.90, 361.75, those are the overhead targets. Ashok Leland is a shorting opportunity I'm looking at for a 240-minute chart, a 4-hour. Got an area of supply here. The first one, 149 to 151. You can see we're pretty bearish. Whoops, sorry, too far. We're pretty bearish there. We do have another supply overhead about 153.05 to 154, so if the first one doesn't hold. Just basically targeting previous demand zones. We're in a nice downtrend. It looks like this should continue. So 136.45 and then 127.70 for target 1 and target 2 respectively. And Motherson is another one I'm looking at here. So we've got, was this Sam Vindra, Motherson, looking for a supply zone on retest up here, 72.50 to 74 with your stop above, or the 75.75 to 78.35. Target first one is 50.60, second target 32.65. And finally, Central Bank of India, so CBI, looking for a pullback up to supply at 21.25, 21.45 with a stop above 21.65. Target 1 and target 2 there is 18.65 and 17.35. So that's what I got for this week. If you enjoyed what you saw, please hit like and subscribe. I'll be putting out more videos for you again later this week. And until then, trade safe, trade well, and take care, everyone.